So for instance, if someone says there were nuclear bombs in Mahabharata, we want them to show us a crater with radioactivity. And until they can show us a crater with radioactivity, it does not satisfy the empirical evidence. I'm sure all of you being nuclear scientists, you know that it would not be possible to have had nuclear bombs with no trace of radioactivity. So that is a test. Now if you meet that test, within that test you can find fantastic things about steel which did not rust and which has a few microns coating of phosphorus or something interesting. So the issue is, how did they do this, what seems like nanotechnology in those days, how did they do this? You find amazing things in Harappan tiles, the way these tiles are manufactured, and a decentralized Indus-Saraswati civilization with Dholavira and Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, 2000 sites. Many paradoxes about how things were done, which makes it more interesting. And then weights, the standard weights, which are binary, the ratio is 1, 2, 4, 8, like that, weights. And the way the streets and lanes and the water is managed and all that is exceedingly sophisticated. How the economic history of India until 1750 was very advanced. More than 24% of the GDP of India, of the world, was in India, and about a similar number in China. And over a 100-year period from 1750 onwards, India's GDP declined, manufacturing output declined, and that's when the West became very industrialized. So we're interested in studying these kind of things to counteract the view that India's spiritual background and advancement and mysticism made Indians otherworldly and not capable of solving practical problems and materialistic problems, because Indians actually have been doing both. There is great philosophy, there is great mathematics and linguistics and all kinds of fantastic theoretical studies, but also enormous amounts of developments at the same time which are of a very practical nature which affect society.